AEW has such a talented women's division. We hear it all the time from Dustin Rhodes, our honorary third co-host, who does such a great job with the women's division, AEW. And one of those talented women joins us now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. It's Allie. You follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Allie Wrestling. Allie, how are you? How are you and your family during this crazy pandemic time?
Well, right this second, I am extremely caffeinated, so that's a good thing. But we're good. We're hanging in. We're hanging in there.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, I know you're a big fan of coffee. Do you like a specific brand of coffee?
I'm a little bit obsessed with Nespresso right now. I recently got an espresso maker, and I've been drinking a lot of that. A lot. Espresso. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, I drink coffee. I've drank coffee forever. There's different types, depends on what mood I'm in, so I get that. I've followed your career for quite some time, and one of the great things that I've noticed with you is you have a great talent for kind of reinventing yourself and kind of changing your tide as the circumstance allows. From your work on the independent scene as Cherry Bomb to Allie when you were in Impact, and now as the Bunny and Allie in AEW. Just talk about how you reinvent yourself throughout your career.
So, okay, well, with Cherry Bomb, that was she sort of evolved. I refer to these different characters sort of like as different people, but Cherry Bomb evolved. I mean, that was my name when I started back when I was 18, and obviously who I was at 18 is a little bit different than who I am at 33. But Cherry came from this place of desperately looking for confidence within myself as a wrestler, and just like confidence, like, growing up through the years. And she helped me find my confidence. She is a kind of a force to be reckoned with. And so that's kind of where Cherry Bomb came from. With Allie was difficult for me at first because it was such a vast, contrast to who I was portraying before. But one of the beautiful things about wrestling is that you do have this opportunity to dig deep creatively and within yourself and find these characteristics and then obviously portray them. So Allie was hard at first, but I really, really fell in love with the character because she has an innocence about her. But she also, like Cherry Bomb was this adaptation of confidence, Allie had none. So it was really fun to go on this journey and sort of build her confidence to a point where she ended up winning the Knockouts Championship. And it was a really fun ride. Then I stepped into this other character of the Bunny, who was really fun also because I was able to pull from characters that I myself watch on television and movies and sort of, transform into this villain who's a little crazy, but has pieces of Cherry Bomb and Allie in her. So it's been a really fun ride to be able to do all these things. But I think it's important, if you want to stay relevant, it's important to be able to reinvent yourself and be able to challenge yourself and put on a new pair of shoes that is a new character and sort of figure out how you're going to walk in them.
I love the sound of that. We've seen wrestlers throughout the years. Of course, here in Austin, we're real familiar with The Undertaker, who's, done the same thing, and he does such a great, and you seem to you kind of go with the flow, you adjust as needed, and it's so cool to watch. Let me ask you this. You mentioned what you've seen in movies, TV. Is there a certain form of movie or TV, certain genre that you are attracted to the most?
I am a huge horror junkie. I watch a lot of horror movies. I'd say that's probably my favorite genre.
Okay. For sure. All right, horror movie. I get that. I was as a kid. When I was a teenager, loved them. Nowadays, I got tricked into go seeing Saw several years ago. It was the first time I ever came out of the theater needing to take a shower. So we're talking with Allie from AEW. Again, follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Allie Wrestling. Let's talk about the quality of the women's division. You got some incredibly talented women in there, and some new women that are coming in. We've seen them on Dark. Just talk about the myriad of talent that you have in that locker room right now.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I want to say, like, our locker room, not only is it filled with talented ladies, but it's also, we're extremely close. And it's been really fun to sort of build these relationships with all the girls. And I'm excited because I am starting to have more matches and to actually be able to work with some of these women. You know, for example, we have Abaddon, who recently joined our roster, and, you know, I have a little bit of experience with demons. So I know she's more of a zombie, but I feel like that's somebody that I could have a really fun match with, or even a storyline or program with. And then obviously, you know, we have the champion Sheeta, who I think is just an incredible wrestler, and I am dying to get in the ring with her because I think she's fantastic.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Abaddon is, boy, that is a scary individual. I will say that.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah. Let's talk about, you mentioned, of course, the matches, your increased in-ring work right now. And, of course, we got to talk about the Nightmare Sisters. You and Brandi Rhodes have this tag team out of, I don't know, it was kind of your frenemies, I guess is the best way to say it. But how much are you enjoying the tag team work with Brandi, and how much are you looking forward to this tag team tournament that's coming up?
I'm so excited. First of all, I love tag team wrestling. So to be able to kind of step back into a tag team, I was in a tag team on the Indies with a wrestler named Kimberly, and that was kind of my first taste at tag team wrestling, and I loved it. It's different. It's a different dynamic than singles, and it's challenging. And I think in terms of me tagging with Brandi, I think the appeal of Brandi and I together is that we're so vastly different. And I think my approach in the ring is just extremely different than her approach. And I think that is why people are interested in it. Sort of like, I guess, the odd couple a little bit. But I'm very excited, and I'm so stoked for this tag team tournament, and for all these women to have an opportunity to showcase themselves, myself included, obviously, but to see these other women step up and be able to showcase themselves on AEW is very, very exciting. Yeah,
AEW has, from the very beginning, AEW has prided itself in the men's tag team and how they deal with tag team wrestling, and now it's great to see that branch off into the women's division and seeing women's tag teams. It's going to be really exciting to watch. Now, I got to ask you, I've talked to Dustin Rhodes several times. He's a good friend, lives about 20 minutes from me. How much have you learned from the coaches, and especially from Dustin? Because Dustin, like I said, his eyes sparkle when he talks about, working with the women's division.
Dustin is, well, number one, I recently called him. I told him that his nickname is Mufasa.
Hold it. His nickname is what?
I called him Mufasa.
Oh my God, that's it. From now on, we're using Mufasa. Anytime he's on the show, we're using Mufasa.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why. Because Dustin, not only is he my coach, but I'm also able to actually work with him, with the dynamic with QT and Brandi. And, we train every single week, and not only am I learning more in the ring, but he's helping me so much in terms of, just regaining my confidence. And I think I touched on that a little bit at the beginning, but that's something that I've struggled with my entire career. And Dustin has this amazing ability of, pulling me aside and being like, he said this to me before I walked through the curtain a couple weeks ago. He grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, "Remember who you are." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're my Mufasa. You're like my wrestling dad."
That is awesome.
Yeah, so he's amazing, and I was a huge fan of his growing up. So to be able to share a ring with him, and then I've used some of his moves in my matches. It's just the 9-year-old in me is just mind is blown. Like what? Like how is this happening? So it truly is. It's an honor to work with him. I
will say you do a pretty good, drop down uppercut like what Dustin has done forever and ever. So I can see that, and like I said, I know Dustin is just beams with pride when he talks about the women's division. So we talked about your favorite coffee. I know you're a big fan of redfish or Swedish redfish as a snack. Are there any other snacks that you just have to have when you're traveling or just out and about?
Yes. So Swedish fish and Sour Patch Kids, those are my two. Those are I have to have them when I travel, just to have a quick energy burst before matches. But I am an Oreo fiend. Like, I have an Oreo problem to the point that I cannot keep Oreos in my house because I will eat all of them. So, yeah, Oreos are my jam, Swedish Fish, Sour Patch Kids, and I love vegan pizza with maple syrup on the crust.
Okay.
That's another go-to.
I get the Oreos thing. I'm that way with Nutter Butters. I just
my God!
I can only buy them like every few months because
they're tied. They're tied at one, right? Oreos and Nutter Butters, like,
and then really you do it with a cold glass of milk, and it's just that's it. You're in nirvana. So, you have. I remember seeing some of the later episodes of Masters of the Multiverse, and it showed your dogs. How are your dogs?
Oh my gosh, they're so good. So they're two little rescues, Toby and Sir Didymus, and they are young. They're like 1.5. I don't even think they're 2 yet, and they are just full of nonstop energy. But I say this all the time, like, they're my two little best friends. And once the pandemic started, we were at home quarantining for, it felt like an eternity, and my dogs were like, if I didn't have my dogs, I think I would have gone crazy because, you just get to this point where you're sitting in your house like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then my two little, Toby and Sir Diddy come over and they're like, hey, Mom, like, what's up? Let's do something. So they own my heart. I'm slightly obsessed with them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. I love dogs. Big fan of dogs, so I always love hearing about dogs from wrestlers and anybody in interview. So, real quick before I let you go, as I mentioned, enjoy Masters of the Multiverse. Just some wild and zany stuff. How much fun was that to do that with Rosemary and all the cast of characters? Could we see a new season of that anytime soon?
Yeah, so Master of the Multiverse is, I think, one of the most fun I have within, I guess, wrestling. It is so much fun, but it is so much work. I mean, we sit and we plan out an entire season, and then we figure out, we plug in who we're going to, who we have access to and how we can include them in the show. And we actually were planning to film an entire season earlier in the year, but then obviously the pandemic happened, so we're not able to get together and film it. So once things are better in the world, that is at the top of our list, is to create a new season of the show. And yeah, I mean, we left on a cliffhanger, so hopefully we can pick up where we left it off.
I hope so too. Look forward to that when that happens. She is the bunny, Allie. Follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Allie Wrestling, and catch her on AEW Dynamite every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on TNT. Catch her on Dark and everything that AEW does. Allie, is such a treat to talk to you. All the best to you. All the best to everyone there. Safe travels, be well, and hope we get to talk again soon.
Thank you so much.